So hello everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. So in this video I'm here with Mag and her starter setup along with her starter weapons, and the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to talk in this video about mastery ranking and how it appears from the eyes of a new player. And the reason I wanted to make this video is I have often come across new players in the clan who have asked the question, what exactly is mastery ranking, when I started talking about it. So I thought I would clarify some of the points with regards to this topic, especially for new players, and just talk about some basic concepts of mastery ranking, how to go about getting the affinity for to rank up or to prepare to rank up, and then just describe the first 3 tests that are necessary to level up to mastery ranking 3. Finally, I want to briefly touch upon some of the preparations that a new player can make to get ready for any of the upcoming mastery rank tests. So the mastery ranking can be thought of as the level ups that you have in this game. So the basic principle is as you use your frames and weapons, you start becoming familiar with them, and so you start mastering them, and that's why they level up. And as they level up, then you gain mastery points from them, and when they max out, then you have gained as much mastery, or you have mastered that particular weapon or frame. And as you master more frames and weapons, then you gain enough mastery points, then you could rank up on your mastery ranking. So it's not quite the level up that you have in other games, but you can consider it as its counterpart for this particular game. Now, the difference between traditional level ups and mastery ranking is you don't really gain any additional skills or improvements in your skill as you go up in mastery rank, as you would normally see in a traditional level up. What you do get is the ability to use higher level weapons with increasing mastery rank, and the ability to start any new frame or weapon at the mod point level equivalent to your mastery ranking. So for example, if your mastery ranking is 10, then instead of starting your mod point level at 0 for any new frame or weapon, you could start it at a equivalent of a level 10 weapon or frame. You also get the ability to trade more often as you increase in mastery ranking, and of course finally you get the bragging rights, I guess, of having a higher mastery ranking to show off to your other players if you feel that's important to you. So how does one go about increasing their mastery ranking? Well, there really is only one way to do so, and that's to level up enough frames and weapons to gain as much mastery points as possible and get enough to go up to the next mastery rank level. Now, as you know, to max each frame or weapon, you have to take it up to level 30. And each weapon will give you 100 mastery points for every level you gain. And each frame will give you 200 mastery points. So when you max out a weapon, you will get 3,000 mastery points in total. And when you max out a frame, you will get 6,000. That is one of the reasons why many players will tell you never throw away a weapon until you max it out, even if it is a bad weapon and is often called mastery fodder. Now, a few key points. When you form a weapon or a frame and bring it back to unranked level and then start maxing it out again, you will not gain any additional mastery points. You only gain mastery points during the first maxing of any frame or weapon. At the same note, if you throw away a frame or a weapon and then rebuild it again and have an unranked weapon or frame and start maxing it, you will not gain any mastery points if you maxed it out the first time before you threw it away. And finally, if you take a weapon or a frame and you level it up halfway or part of the way there, and then you throw it away, and then you make the weapon or the frame again and max it out, then you will only gain the amount of mastery points that you didn't gain the first time you started leveling it up. So the total mastery points that you get from a frame or a weapon are only the 3,000 or the 6,000 points that you will get during the first mastery rank up. Now, as far as missions are concerned, when you're farming for mastery points, you want to focus on missions that will give you the highest amount of kills in the shortest amount of time. And the missions that are most suited for that are the ones called the endless missions. So ones such as defense, excavation, interception, and survival all fall into that. Now, if any of these planets were available for you, then the mission that seems to be the most suitable these days is the one called Beginners in Sedna. And this seems to be the one after U19 when Draco was nerfed, that this became the new Draco for many people. This is also an interception mission just like Draco used to be, and this tends to be the one that many people focus in when you're going for high level mastery points. The other one that people tend to like to do is Akkad. Again, this one is good for either credits or mastery farming. So if you want to get credits, then you only go for five runs, but if you wanted to get mastery farming, then you try to go all 20 waves. And since it's a small quarter, and since you do get a lot of infestation coming at you, it tends to be really good. Now, the equivalent low-level mission for that are the ones on Mars. So the Wahiba for survival and Kadesh for defense both fall into similar sort of categories where you're getting a lot of infestation coming after you. Now, if you were on Earth, I would choose Everest, which is an excavation, and you do get a lot of Grineer running after you and trying to kill you, so that's a good place to farm for mastery points as well. Lith is okay, but it doesn't tend to bring as many enemies in at once compared to Everest. Now, if you were on Mercury, I would choose the survival mission Apollodorus, because you do get a lot of Grineer coming after you in a short period of time. They are relatively low level, but they do start growing quite quickly if you keep on playing the mission. And so, yeah, I mean, even for these low-level planets, these endless missions, I would suggest to be the places you can use to farm for mastery points. Now, as you start gathering mastery points, one of the questions that of course will come up is how much mastery points have you gathered? Are you close to the next level up? And the best way to do that if you're on the PC version of the game is to hit escape, and you will see your profile. And so if you click on your profile, then it will tell you what mastery rank you're at and how much points you have accumulated and how many points are left until you get to your next mastery level. There are other information there, of course, but that is the place where you can look at all that information. Now, if you reach a point where you're ready to take on the next level test, then when you do this show profile, you will also see a button below it that appears that asks you whether you would like to take the test. Now, that only appears when you have enough mastery points to go up to the next ranking. So if you ever want to know whether you are ready to take on the next level test, then just hit escape on the PC and it will be able to give you all the information you need. And this brings us to the mastery test. As mentioned before, the mastery test is a test that you're allowed to take once you have enough mastery points accumulated to go to the next level, and you must pass the test to be able to go to the next level. Now, the test you're allowed to take once per day, and if you fail the test, then you must wait a day before you can take it once more. With regards to what you will be tested on, that will be slightly different for each test. And each test will test you out on different skill sets that you may have accumulated in the game. Now, I'll just go over the first 3 mastery tests because, again, this is a video for the new players. And the first 3 tests are relatively straightforward. The first test is the primary test, the second test is the secondary test, and the third test is the melee test. And as you may imagine, they test you on those specific weapons. So you're only allowed to use the primary or the secondary or the melee weapon depending upon which test you're taking, and you're not allowed to use any other weapon or your abilities from the frame. The objective for all these tests is to defeat a certain number of enemies within a certain amount of time. If you don't defeat enough of them, then you fail the test, and if you get killed, then you fail the test as well. Now, from what I've seen in my own experience with these tests, as well as other people taking the tests, these tests are relatively straightforward, and the most important thing is that you continue to level up your weapons. And instead of trying to use multiple weapons in the beginning, focus on your starter weapons, so your Mark 1 weapons, and make sure that you level them up high enough so that they have enough strength to be able to defeat the enemy quickly. If you try to use too many weapons right in the beginning, none of them will be leveled up high enough, and you'll have a more difficult time with the test. Now, with this said, the one weapon where you may experience problems passing the test is if you have chosen the Mark 1 Paris as your primary weapon, and the difficult test will actually be the very first test. The other tests you may find to be easier than the very first test. And the reason why the first test has been difficult for a lot of people who chose the bow is because it does take time to charge up the bow, and it also requires a certain amount of aiming, whereas if you chose the Mark 1 Bratton, then you could strafe everybody. So even though you may need more bullets than arrows to be able to take down the enemy, since you're strafing, you tend to find that you can take down more enemy within a certain amount of time, whereas with the bow, you do have to take the effort of charging it and then aiming at a specific enemy while you're trying to avoid their attacks. So what I wanted to do for the remaining part of the video is to go over some things that you can do to practice for these tests. And if you find that you chose the Mark 1 Paris as your primary weapon and you're having difficulty with the test, then I want to go over some simple tricks that you might be able to do to make the test easier. Now, these tricks can be used if you chose any other weapon as well, but I do find that the Mark 1 Paris is the one weapon where you may need more help than some of these other weapons. So for this upcoming point, I will be using Mag in her unmodded state. She is max rank, but she will be completely unmodded. And I just happen to have a Mark 1 Paris, which I formodded, so it's completely unranked, and I will also be using this unmodded. And the reason I want to do this is so that I could put myself in a situation similar to what the new players might experience. Okay, so when you're performing the first mastery ranking test, the one thing that many people do and you shouldn't is do this, which is where you're just standing and trying to aim and trying to hit the enemy in basically a static position. At the most, what you might do is to run around, maybe jump a little bit, but overall, you end up becoming a very vulnerable target while you're trying to aim. And of course, with the Mark 1 Paris, you do end up trying to aim, so it does take a little bit of time. But the important thing is that while even between shots, when you're not really aiming, you're still remaining a relatively vulnerable situation. So standing around and running around isn't the best way to perform these tests. Okay, so one of the things that makes Warframe so unique amongst many of the shooter games is the incredible sophisticated maneuvering capabilities of the Tennos. And when you are a lousy shot like I am a very lousy shot, these maneuvering capabilities become very useful because you tend to need to position yourself quite well to be able to hit the enemy. Now, the nice thing about the maneuvering capabilities is it makes you very mobile so that you don't become a sitting duck, but it also helps you move yourself into position that makes it easier for you to hit the enemy, even using something like the Mark I Paris. So of course you can use the moves such as the bullet jump or the double jump or the jump slide. And then one thing nice about the jump slide is it doubles as a flying kick. And of course, as you know, if you use the Mark I Paris, is that you often require a little bit of time to charge up your weapon. And in the meantime, if your enemy is sitting around, running around and shooting, it makes it difficult for you to take the time to shoot them, charge your weapon up. So by doing a jump kick, you could take the enemy down, and in that time it immobilizes them so that you can hit them a lot easier, but it also keeps them from shooting back at you while you shoot them. And so if there's any one move that I would suggest for you to learn before you take the Mastery 1 test, is the jump slide or the jump kick. And the jump kick is relatively simple. You just jump into the air and slide in the air, and for that you don't really even need to aim all that much. If you just slide in the general direction of the enemy, you will basically take them down. And then of course that makes it a lot easier, especially if there's a lot of enemy. You could use that to incapacitate a few of them while you're battling others, or you could take them out one at a time and reduce the numbers relatively quickly. And so of course while you're doing the jump kick, you're also being mobile, so that makes it very hard for the enemy to hit you, even though it looks like since you're jumping and kicking right at them, it makes you would be a lot more vulnerable. Now, of course, if you're going to do it against a very high-level enemy, I would argue against that, because, of course, many of them can one-shot you with their weapons. So you have to be a lot more creative in your moves. But for this sort of mastery test, the jump kick does prove to be quite useful, especially if you're using the Mark I Paris. Now, the one enemy that didn't come out in the last test but can come out and become a real annoyance is the shield Osprey. And they usually come out in wave 3. And if you do see one, they can be a real problem, because not only do they add extra shields to the other enemy that make it hard to kill them, but they're also not easy to hit because they fly around a lot. And so, of course, you could try to kill them in the traditional way like the last one was killed. But the other way is, if you see one of these enemy, is to take the columns that are in the arena and utilize them to shoot them. And when you're that high up, what you find out is that the Shield Osprey stops moving around because it doesn't know that you're around, and it makes it easier to shoot them. So if you do see one, you could always use the columns to slow them down a bit. Okay, so with regards to these movements, practicing them outside of the tests turns out to be quite useful, and you could practice on each movement individually or as a combination, like you see here where you're doing a bullet jump and a roll at the same time. Where you can do it is up to you, and you could choose many places, and here I'm just using the hallway of the relay to do so. And of course the Lorunda relay in Mercury turns out to be useful because there's so many servers that have this relay, and you could choose one of them that is not heavily populated and use that hallway as a testing point, a practicing point. You could also use, for example, a cleared out mission, extermination mission, and you have the entire mission grounds as your playground. Now here, once you're done with the hallway, of course you could go out into the into the landing bay area and practice there. And of course, the geography is a little bit more complex there. And the nice thing is it won't let you fall off the edge, so that makes it useful. And of course, once you're finished with the landing bay, then you could go back to your ship and try doing it there and see if it works in closer quarters. If you roll after you land, then you tend to be able to get out of any tight situation. So that's another way, another thing that you could try practicing is the landing rolls. Okay, and finally, probably one of the more important things is how to practice and prepare for your mastery test before you take the test. And the first thing I would suggest is you should go to someplace like YouTube and check on all the videos that are available for mastery ranking tests. You'll be surprised just how many there are out there for every test out there. And since these tests do change every once in a while, take some of the more recent videos and take a look at them. Now, the problem with the videos is you don't really get a first-hand account at what the tests are like, and so to do that you can actually go to the sanctuary or Cephalon Simaris' sanctuary in the second floor of any of the relays. For new players, that will be Larunda again. And to the right of that room, you will find all of the mastery tests. Now, you won't be able to do all of the tests, but you will be able to do all the tests that you have passed up till that point, as well as the one test that will be coming up for the next rank up. So if you start gaining your mastery points and coming close to the next mastery test, then I would suggest that you go to Cephalon Simaris' sanctuary and go try out the test before you actually take the real test. These tests are open to anybody. You don't have to join Cephalon Simaris' syndicate, although it is actually a nice syndicate to join. And what's nice is that you really get a first-hand practice at each one of these mastery tests. So once you get to a point where you could do multiple numbers of these tests without failing, then you're probably in a good position to be able to take the actual test. So this concludes this video with regards to some of the information regarding mastery points, mastery ranking, and mastery tests for new players. Now, if you were a new player, I hope this video turned out to be useful for you. I thank you for watching the video, and I wish you all the best in your future mastery ranking and testing. If you have any comments, then please post the comments in the section below. And we always thank you for taking your time to watch the video. We wish you all the best with everything, including Warframe, and we will continue to post more Warframe videos. And with that, Jaya, nice day, everyone.